Hi there everyone, welcome to YouTube. I hope you guys are doing absolutely great. So today we will be learning about the generator functions in a JavaScript. So without further delay, let's get started. Okay, so I have set up a basic HTML page here where I'm using a live server to hot reload the page, and I have attached this script.js file here to this script.js file, so where I can write the JavaScript code, and I have this basic button on the HTML page. Yeah, so we're gonna move to our script.js file, and here I will write a function called get items. It will be a simple function called get items, which will basically return any item. So but we're not gonna use a return statement, and before that I'm just gonna define just a array of strings with certain items. Oh sorry, it needs to be an array, and so it's like item 1, and we have item 2. So I'm gonna just define a 3 item as of now. So we have a 3 items in an array. So the way we define a generator function in JavaScript is using the asterisk symbol. So we can write the function asterisk get items, and inside this asterisk, inside this generator function, we can use a keyword called yield. Okay, so what happens with the generator function is like that when we call this method get items, it returns a generator function, and a generator function is a kind of a special function which can stop its execution using the yield keyword. So basically, like if we have a loop here like while, let's say we have any variable called I, and I will just define a variable here called let I equals to 0, and I want to loop through all the items, and I will write while I is less than items dot length, and then we can have a body of function. So we know like basics of functions and loop is like that. As soon as we call this get items function, it's gonna loop through all till the condition is not met, and the code will complete as soon as the condition is met. But we can stop the execution of a program using a special keyword called return, yield, and inside the yield we can write any statement. So what will actually happen is like the program will stop at where it will find the yield keyword, and we can write any statement. So I can write yield items I. So it is basically kind of equivalent to return items I, but the thing is like since it is a generator function, so we will have access to a one more method on this function called a next. So it's like if I define here any variable called generator, and I just call this method get items. So here get items is not going to execute, because what will happen, like it will execute but it will stop its execution at the yield keyword. So it will stop here, and now this generator function has access to a special method called next. So way we're gonna use the next method is like I'm just gonna copy this variable, and on the click of a button, on I can say on click of this button, we're gonna write to console.log generator dot next. So what actually happened here is like generator dot next method resumes the execution which is stopped at the yield and returns the value which is just after the yield. So it's basically like stopping the function at yield keyword and just get the items whenever a next method is called. So if we write the return here, basically the code is like, then like next code is not executable, but the yield, what it does is like it stops its execution here and returns the value from here and then continues execution beneath. So like if you see here, and if I click on click me, you see we have a log to the console value item 1 done false. So generator function returns us two things. One is like value if we have anything after the yield written here, and like if you don't have anything, basically that particular statement will execute and it will return undefined or null back to us. And it also returns done basically means like since this loop gonna stop after the 3 iterations, so basically we will not have a function paused at a yield keyword. So when like 3 iteration when over, it will say after this, it will say done true, because after the 3 iteration it has not stopped its execution at the yield keyword. So like in this way we can use the generator function just to stop the execution of any loop or anything at any particular place. And just get items in this value. It's like it can basically be used to get the IDs of any function. Let's say you want to generate a unique ID to each person, so you can just have a loop something, and you can just call that method to get the new ID at each time. So we can have a track of IDs being used so far in the program. So yeah, this was like a basics about the generator function in JavaScript. And similarly, like as we have used this function, this generator function in a function, we can also use this generator function in any object or something like that. Let's say we have a object of persons. The way we gonna define the generator function in this person is like we can just define any key, let's say IDs, and IDs will basically be a generator function. So we can write function, and we're going to use asterisk, and I'll just keep it anonymous. But the thing is, basically, since the function itself is not executed, so we will have to immediately invoke it. So we will have to write parenthesis, like immediately invoked function. So we'll have to just wrap it inside the parenthesis. So this function will be called as soon as the object is created, since it is immediately invoked. And inside here now, again, we can have a same logic, like while I is less than let's say items dot length, we're gonna yield, basically yield items I, and after this we can just increment the I. And the way we can call it is like similar, like the person dot IDs now will have access to a generator function. So I'll just get back here, and here inside of this I'm gonna call person dot IDs dot next. So it will be kind of equivalent. You see, we have a same output, but now we have this generator function defined inside any object. So yeah, this was it for the generator function. I hope you like the video, and if you like the video, do like the video and share if you find it useful, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and see you soon.